These animal births are so bizarre, rare, and record-breaking, you'll be thinking about them long after the video ends. When a farmer in Sardinia walked into his barn one morning, he didn't expect to find something that looked like it had walked out of a Nickelodeon cartoon. Among a litter of 5 newborn puppies, one stood out immediately, because it was bright green. Yes, green. Not dirty or moss-covered, actually green. This wasn't some camera trick or weird lighting. The puppy's fur was naturally colored like fresh-cut grass. The strange green tint comes from a natural pigment called biliverdin, the same substance that gives bruises their greenish color during healing. In rare cases, biliverdin mixes with the amniotic fluid and stains the light-colored fur of a puppy during birth. It doesn't hurt them, and the green usually fades within a few weeks. But still, how often do you get to say your dog gave birth to the Hulk? Photos of Pistachio, as he was named, quickly went viral. People compared him to Baby Yoda. Others called him the Shrek of the litter. Even news outlets from other countries picked up the story. Despite all the attention, the puppy was healthy, happy, and completely normal. Aside from looking like he'd been dipped in slime. The odds of this happening are incredibly low. Only a handful of similar cases have ever been reported worldwide. As he grew, the green color faded day by day, replaced by a more traditional beige. But for those first few weeks, he was probably the most famous puppy in Italy. On a quiet farm in rural China, a sow gave birth to what looked like something out of a sci-fi movie. Among a litter of healthy, squirming piglets was one unlike the rest. It had 2 fully formed heads, 2 snouts, 2 mouths, 4 eyes. It blinked, squealed, and tried to walk, though clumsily, as if its brain wasn't sure which way to go. The piglet had polycephaly, a rare condition where embryos don't separate properly during development. Local farmers were stunned. It wasn't a trick or a fake. This was a real living animal. Photos of the 2-headed piglet spread fast online, drawing millions of views within days. Some people were fascinated, others skeptical, but the evidence was clear. Nature had just written one of its strangest chapters. 2-headed animals have been born before. Snakes, turtles, even cows. But pigs? That's rare. And to see it alive and squealing, practically unheard of. Vets examined it and confirmed that both heads responded to touch and sound. Sadly, animals with this condition often don't live long, but the birth itself is a jaw-dropper. It's a reminder that even something as familiar as a piglet can still shock us with the unexpected. From a pig with 2 heads to a dad with hundreds of babies, things only get weirder. In the underwater world, seahorses flip the script. It's the males who give birth. And not to 1 or 2 babies, but sometimes over 1,000. When it happens, it's like watching fireworks, except the sparks are tiny, wriggling seahorse fry, shooting out in every direction. The father's belly starts pulsing, and within seconds, a cloud of mini seahorses bursts from a slit on his front side. He'll twist, contract, and shake as the babies pour out, swimming away immediately. It looks chaotic, but it's a miracle of biology. The male doesn't just carry the eggs, his pouch actually nourishes them, like a womb. This isn't fantasy, it's been captured on camera in aquariums and coral reefs. And it's never not mesmerizing. The sight of a single dad bringing hundreds of new lives into the world is hard to believe, even when you're staring right at it. The moment ends quickly, but the footage lasts forever. And honestly, how many other dads can say they delivered 500 kids before breakfast? In the heart of South Africa's Kruger National Park, rangers spotted something so rare, they had to double-check their binoculars. Among a small herd of African elephants was a calf that looked almost glowing. Not gray like its family, but pale pink with bright blue eyes. It was a wild albino elephant, something so unusual that even veteran wildlife guides had never seen one in person. Albinism in elephants is incredibly rare, and even rarer in the wild. Most albino animals don't survive long because their color makes it harder to blend in and their skin is more sensitive to sun. But this little calf seemed healthy, curious, and already trying to keep up with the herd. Cameras captured the moment it stepped out from behind its mother, almost like a ghost among shadows. The footage went viral for good reason. You're looking at something that almost never happens. Not a trick of the light, not a dusty coat. A true albino elephant, born free, walking the same trails as generations before it. And the best part? The herd treated it just like any other baby. Proving that in the animal world, being different doesn't mean being left behind. That single image, pale skin against bright soil, feels like something out of a dream. But it's 100% real. Some stories feel like they belong in a sci-fi series, and this one definitely fits the bill. In a remote village in India, a goat gave birth to a newborn that left the entire community stunned. The body was clearly that of a goat, but the face was eerily human-like. Not just vaguely. It had a short snout, forward-facing eyes, and even the shape of the mouth and nose looked oddly familiar. People couldn't believe what they were seeing. Word spread fast. Locals came from miles around to witness it. Some saw it as a sign, others simply stood in disbelief. Videos and photos circulated quickly across the internet, sparking a mix of fascination and confusion. Experts later explained the phenomenon as a severe craniofacial deformity, a condition where facial features develop in unusual shapes during pregnancy. It's extremely rare, and when it does happen, the results can be striking. While the newborn didn't survive long, its brief appearance left a huge impact. It became a reminder that nature doesn't always follow the rules. Once in a while, something happens that completely challenges what we expect, and this was one of those moments. A routine farm birth suddenly turned into a viral sensation and one of the most talked about animal births in recent memory. Some called it unsettling, others called it incredible. One thing's for sure, it wasn't something you forget. You think juggling 2 kids is tough? Try carrying 20 on your back. That's just a regular Tuesday for a mother opossum. These animals don't just give birth to massive litters, sometimes up to 20 tiny babies. They carry them everywhere like a living backpack. And we're not talking about calm little passengers. These joeys cling for dear life with their tiny pink feet stacked like little moving blobs across their mother's fur. Wildlife photographers have captured this bizarre and beautiful scene. A mother opossum trotting through the woods, her back covered in squirming pups. From a distance, it looks like her back is alive, and in a way, it is. She does this for weeks, until the babies are big enough to explore on their own. It's one of the most chaotic but heartwarming sights in the wild. There's no stroller, no car seat, just a determined mom making it work with what nature gave her, and no matter how many of them there are, she makes sure they all hang on tight. It's messy, it's wild, and it's one of the coolest displays of natural parenting you'll ever see. Nature's version of a school bus, covered in fuzz, feet, and pure determination. Now let's leave dry land and dive into something truly sci-fi. Meet Alicia marginata, a sea slug that decided regular birth wasn't dramatic enough. Instead of laying eggs or splitting like a starfish, this sea slug cuts off its own head and grows a new body. Not over months, we're talking days. Researchers in Japan actually filmed it happening. The head separates from the body, crawls away, and regenerates organs, heart and all. No eggs, no partner, just a full-on reset. This bizarre trick isn't magic, it's survival. Scientists think it might be a way to shed parasites or escape infection. But here's the kicker, the slug's old body keeps moving for a while too, even after the head is gone. It's like something out of a Marvel movie, but it's 100% real. Few creatures on Earth can do this. It's a level of biological backup planning that humans can only dream of. And while most species spend time building nests or pouches, this one just rebuilds from scratch. The footage is both eerie and mesmerizing, a floating leaf-shaped slug reinventing itself from the neck down. When it comes to unforgettable births, this one might just take the crown. In Kenya's Masai Mara Reserve, a baby zebra was spotted that had no stripes. Instead, it had dark brown skin covered in white polka dots, a completely flipped pattern from what we've seen in any zoo or nature doc. Wildlife guides couldn't believe it. They named the foal Tira, and quickly confirmed it wasn't dirty or dusty. This was a case of pseudomelanism, a rare genetic mutation that scrambles the animal's usual coat pattern. Photos of Tira spread like wildfire. This wasn't just a new twist on a familiar animal, it looked like an optical illusion standing in the grass. Most zebras have crisp, barcode-like patterns, but Tira looked like a designer bag with legs. It still blended in surprisingly well with the herd, and experts said the mutation didn't seem to affect the foal's health at all. Seeing Tira was like catching a glitch in nature's design. Most people only know zebras one way, black and white stripes, clean and classic. But sometimes evolution decides to scribble outside the lines, and the result is a spotted zebra that becomes a global celebrity. No filters, no Photoshop, just raw, beautiful biology doing something totally unexpected. On the sandy shores of Florida, where sea turtles hatch by the thousands each season, a group of conservationists stumbled upon something they'd never seen before. In one nest, nestled among broken shells and scrambling hatchlings, was a baby sea turtle with 2 heads. One body, 2 fully formed heads, each blinking, each moving, each trying to crawl in a different direction. This wasn't a sculpture or a viral hoax, it was a real living hatchling with a condition called bicephaly, the result of incomplete embryo splitting. It's the same kind of biological hiccup that can lead to conjoined twins. And it was incredibly rare. Even among reptiles, where mutations are more common, this was a once-in-a-career find for the team. The little turtle made headlines around the world. Scientists documented its movements, noting that both heads were active, trying to coordinate locomotion. It didn't just look unusual, it acted that way too. While most hatchlings instinctively make a beeline for the ocean, this one wobbled in a zigzag, like it was debating which way to go. Though its survival chances in the wild were slim, the moment of discovery was unforgettable. In a sea of thousands of perfect hatchlings, this one stood out. A reminder that even nature's most ancient processes can still surprise us. Not every birth goes according to the script, and sometimes, that's exactly what makes it worth watching. If there's one animal on Earth that takes the phrase multiplying like crazy to a whole new level, it's the mouse. In one documented case, a single female mouse gave birth to an astonishing 140 babies, all in just 1 year. You've heard it right. One tiny rodent no bigger than your palm producing a small village worth of squeaky pink offspring. Mice are natural-born breeders, but even scientists were surprised by how consistent and fast this one delivered. She gave birth every few weeks, often with litters of 10 to 15 pups at a time, rarely missing a cycle. And the wildest part, she raised nearly all of them successfully. No fancy nursery, no help. Just non-stop motherhood powered by instinct and high-protein snacks. Take a look at this image. This is what part of her massive baby squad might have looked like. Pink, squirming, nearly identical, like a moving sea of jelly beans with eyes. It's hard to believe, but this is real. In fact, this could be just one of her many litters. She looked like a balloon before giving birth. And afterwards, she looked like she had survived a marathon. Rodents may not be glamorous, but their biology is built for reproduction. A mouse can technically get pregnant just hours after giving birth, making them some of the most efficient mothers in the entire animal kingdom. 1 year, 140 babies, and no signs of slowing down. That's not just a litter, it's a legacy. Pandas are adorable, but not exactly famous for parenting efficiency. Most panda moms can barely handle one cub at a time. Twins are often more than enough, and one usually ends up abandoned. So when a panda in China's Chimelong Safari Park gave birth to triplets, no one expected all three to survive. But this mother, named Juxiao, defied all odds, and did what no panda in captivity had ever done. She raised all three babies, successfully. Zookeepers were prepared to step in, assuming they'd need to rotate the cubs for feeding, as is often done with twins. But Juxiao surprised everyone with her patience and determination. She nursed all three, groomed them, and somehow kept them warm and safe through the most delicate weeks. The cubs, wriggly, pink, and no bigger than sticks of butter when born, grew into healthy, fluffy icons of panda success. This birth was such a milestone that it made global news, not just for being cute, but because it marked a big win for panda conservation. It proved that with the right care, and a supermom, even the most fragile beginnings can turn into something truly rare. And let's be honest, 3 baby pandas rolling around together is basically the internet's favorite dream. In 2001, a foal was born in St. Louis, Missouri that looked more like a toy than a horse. Her name? Thumbelina. Her height, just 17 inches tall. Weighing barely 9 pounds, she could literally fit in a backpack. At first glance, people thought she might be fake, a stuffed animal or maybe a digital trick, but no, she was very real. And she still holds the title of the smallest horse ever recorded. Thumbelina wasn't just a miniature horse, she was born with dwarfism, making her even smaller than the already tiny breed. Vets weren't sure how long she'd survive, but she proved everyone wrong. Despite her size, she had the spirit of a champion, running, eating and socializing just like any other horse, only in fun-sized form. Photos of her standing next to full-grown horses or even dogs went viral around the world. It was like seeing a real-life fairy tale unfold. She wasn't just small, she was shockingly small. And she became a celebrity, visiting children's hospitals and raising awareness for animal health issues. A horse that tiny, healthy, and full of life. That's not something you forget. Koalas might be one of the most recognizable animals on the planet, but now and then, one is born that doesn't look quite like the rest. While most koalas have soft gray or brown fur and black button noses, a handful of joeys have been born with extremely rare genetic mutations that give them totally unexpected features. from unusually light fur to partial or even full albinism. These rare births have been spotted in wildlife parks and conservation centers across Australia. A pale pink koala with silver-white fur once surprised staff at a rescue center. Another had patches of color missing across its face and ears, almost like someone had erased part of its pattern. These aren't camera tricks. They're natural variations caused by changes in pigmentation genes. Some are full albinos, but others have what's called partial leucism, where pigment is only missing in certain spots. While these unique joeys can survive just fine, they do face some challenges. Their lighter skin makes them more sensitive to sunlight, and in the wild, their pale coloring makes them stand out more to predators. That's why most of these rare koalas end up under close care in sanctuaries where they're safe and closely monitored. These births aren't just rare, they're visually stunning. A pale-furred koala climbing a tree looks like something out of a children's book. And because they happen so infrequently, every time one is spotted it feels like nature just rolled the dice and gave us something unforgettable. Some tiger moms raise 2 or 3 cubs in their lifetime. One Indian tigress raised a whole bloodline. Her name was Mockley, and she wasn't just any big cat, she was a living legend. Over nearly 2 decades in the wilds of Ranthambore National Park, Mockley gave birth to 11 confirmed cubs, a number rarely, if ever, seen among wild tigers. And unlike many others, most of her cubs grew up, carved out their own territories, and became parents too. Mockley's cubs didn't just stay local, they spread out, repopulating entire sections of protected forest. Wildlife rangers started referring to her as the Queen Mother, because when you traced the family tree of every tiger in the region, most paths led back to her. She wasn't just surviving, she was building a dynasty. Some say she gave birth to so many cubs it looked like they just kept coming endlessly, a scene not far off from the imagery you see right here. While we have no photos of her giving birth to her cubs, the core idea hits close. One tigress, surrounded by wave after wave of tiny striped offspring. Mockley made that kind of scene feel less like fantasy, and more like something that could happen. She passed away in old age, but her legacy still roams the forests. Today it's believed over half of Ranthambore's tigers are directly descended from her. Not just the most prolific tigress, arguably the most important one in modern conservation. Meet the mola mola, also known as the ocean sunfish, a creature that looks like a giant swimming dinner plate and holds the crown for the most extreme egg-laying event on Earth. While it floats near the surface looking slow and awkward, this fish hides a mind-blowing secret. A single female can release up to 300 million eggs in one go. That number isn't a typo, it's the highest known egg count for any vertebrate. The mola doesn't lay them gently either. She releases a dense cloud of tiny glistening eggs into open water, sometimes so thick it shimmers beneath the surface like glitter. Each egg is smaller than a grain of sand, yet each one has the potential to become a fish that can grow over 2,000 pounds and stretch 10 feet across. The contrast is wild. The tiniest egg becomes one of the largest bony fish on the planet. Most of the eggs won't survive, but that's the point. Mola mola floods the ocean with life and lets nature decide which ones make it. It's not nurturing, but it works. No birth scene in the ocean compares. One moment, a quiet fish. The next, an explosion of microscopic life. Starfish don't do birth like mammals or fish, they do it like aliens. Some species have evolved a secret weapon cloning. Not just in labs, not in science fiction, real, natural cloning. A single starfish can literally split itself into parts, then regenerate each piece into a new, complete starfish. It's reproduction by disassembly. Researchers in Japan documented one species, Lynchia multifora, that could turn a single arm into an entirely new body. Over time, one starfish turned into dozens. No mating, no eggs, no waiting. Just limbs crawling off and growing fresh faces. It's like nature's version of copy and paste. Watching it happen is eerie. The limb stretches out, detaches, and begins reshaping itself over days or weeks. You can actually see it form the missing pieces. Organs, skin, even the signature 5-pointed frame. While most animals depend on careful timing and partners to reproduce, these starfish just clone themselves on demand. It's efficient, weird, and one of the wildest forms of birth in the natural world. Now picture this. You're on a whale-watching boat off the coast of Baja California. You're expecting to maybe see a tail, a spout of water, if you're lucky. But then, just feet from the boat, a massive gray whale surfaces, rolls slightly, and starts giving birth right there in front of you. That's exactly what happened to a group of stunned tourists. And someone had a camera rolling. At first the water turned a little cloudy, then a small fluke appeared, and suddenly, there it was, a newborn calf, wriggling and breaking the surface for its first breath. The mother nudged it gently with her nose, helping it rise. The entire thing happened in open water, just yards from the boat, with the tourists whispering, gasping, and trying not to drop their phones. It's one thing to see a whale. It's another to witness the exact moment one enters the world. Marine biologists say this kind of sighting is beyond rare. Whale births are almost never seen live. They usually happen at night, in secluded areas far from people. But this one, right in the spotlight. It turned an ordinary tour into a once-in-a-lifetime moment. For everyone on the boat, and for millions more who later watched the footage in awe. Scientists are used to surprises. But even seasoned researchers did a double take when a lab rat gave birth to 40 pups in one litter. That's right, not in a month, not in a year. One single delivery. For reference, the average rat gives birth to 6 to 12 babies per litter. 40? That's practically a crowd. Rats are already known for their rapid-fire breeding. A single female can give birth every 21 days. But this was something else entirely, a record breaker. Scientists speculated that selective breeding and ideal lab conditions may have made it possible. Either way, it was a rare biological jackpot. And just to put it in perspective, if every one of those 40 pups had a litter of their own, and that cycle kept repeating, you'd have thousands in a matter of months. One rat, one litter, 40 lives. That's not just birth, that's population in fast forward. Most horse pregnancies result in a single foal because the mare's uterus is not designed to support two embryos. When twins are conceived, one embryo often doesn't survive, and even if both make it to term, their survival chances are slim. That's what makes the story of Destiny, a mare from the UK, so miraculous. Not only did she give birth to twin foals, but both were born healthy and thriving, a 1 in a million event. Destiny's first set of twins made headlines in 2018, identical colts that defied nature's odds. And just when everyone thought her story couldn't get more incredible, she did it again. This time delivering a colt and a filly in her second twin pregnancy. What's even more shocking? Ultrasounds during her pregnancy only showed one fetus. Imagine the surprise when the second foal made its unexpected debut, but what makes this even more extraordinary is the delicate process of horse births. Did you know that a mare's labor is one of the shortest in the animal kingdom, lasting just 15 to 20 minutes? It's designed that way because newborn foals must quickly stand and nurse to escape predators in the wild. Destiny's twins, however, were anything but ordinary. They weren't just a biological marvel, they were an emotional spectacle. Witnesses described the moment as heartwarming and surreal, with both foals standing side by side, wobbling on their tiny legs. If you thought large families were a challenge for humans, wait until you hear about Roxy May. This 6-year-old black Labrador retriever from Illinois left everyone in awe when she gave birth to 18 puppies in a single litter, a number that even seasoned breeders find astonishing. To put it in perspective, most Labradors have litters of 6 to 8 puppies. For Roxy May to nearly triple that average is practically unheard of. Her owner, John Swartz, had expected a large litter but was floored as the puppies just kept coming. Roxy May's dedication as a mother was immediately evident. She tended to all 18 of her pups, even though it was impossible for her to nurse them all at once. John had to step in, carefully bottle-feeding several puppies around the clock. What's fascinating about large litters is that the puppies often vary significantly in size. Some of Roxy May's pups were robust, while others were tiny and fragile, needing extra attention to thrive. Even more surprising, one of the puppies displayed a rare coat pattern, a genetic anomaly linked to recessive traits. This diversity in appearance among the litter hinted at the fascinating complexity of canine genetics. Roxy May's remarkable litter has gone down as one of the largest ever recorded for a Labrador retriever, leaving dog lovers everywhere amazed at her strength and resilience. Roxy May's incredible litter leads us to another jaw-dropping example of reproductive wonder, a female Komodo dragon that gave birth without ever mating. This rare phenomenon called parthenogenesis was observed at Chester Zoo in England. The dragon laid 11 eggs, 7 of which hatched into healthy offspring. Without access to a male, the dragon managed to continue her species' legacy, something few animals are capable of. Komodo dragons are fascinating for many reasons. They're apex predators with venomous bites and can take down prey many times their size. But their ability to reproduce without a mate is truly extraordinary. Scientists believe this reproductive strategy evolved as a survival mechanism for isolated populations. When males are absent, females can still produce offspring, though the hatchlings are always male. This is because Komodo dragons have a unique genetic makeup that allows parthenogenesis to result in viable male offspring. The event was a breakthrough for scientists, offering insight into how some animals adapt to environmental challenges. For the Komodo dragon in Chester Zoo, it was a testament to nature's incredible resourcefulness. This unexpected birth shocked researchers and reminded us just how much we still have to learn about the animal kingdom. From miraculous adaptability, we now pivot to an event that's equally fascinating and eerie: a goat giving birth to a cyclops kid. In a small village in Assam, India, locals were stunned when a goat delivered a kid with a single central eye. This condition, known as cyclopia, occurs when the embryonic brain fails to divide properly, leading to a single eye socket and other facial anomalies. Cyclopia is incredibly rare and almost always fatal shortly after birth. The baby goat's arrival caused a mix of reactions. While scientists recognized it as a congenital defect, villagers believed it was a sign of divine intervention, with many flocking to the farm to see the unusual kid. The goat managed to survive longer than expected, living for several days under the care of its owner. Its existence sparked curiosity and discussions about genetic mutations in animals. Interestingly, goats are known for their resilience and ability to adapt to harsh environments, but this birth showed just how unpredictable nature can be. Cyclopia has been documented in other species, including cats, horses, and even humans, but each case remains as extraordinary as the last. The goat's story is a powerful reminder of the surprises and mysteries that lie within the natural world. Let's shift our focus to a truly remarkable cheetah named Bingwa, whose name fittingly means champion in Swahili. In 2017, this 4-year-old cheetah at the St. Louis Zoo made headlines by giving birth to 8 cubs, a record-breaking litter for cheetahs born in captivity. What makes Bingwa's story so special is the incredible rarity of such a large litter. Typically, cheetahs give birth to 3 or 4 cubs, and even that can be a struggle in captivity, where stress and environmental factors often hinder breeding success. Bingwa's achievement was made possible through a carefully managed breeding program. As a first-time mom, she showed extraordinary maternal instincts, caring for all 8 cubs with unwavering dedication. By the way, did you know that cheetah cubs are born blind and weigh less than a pound? They're completely dependent on their mother during their first weeks of life, making Bingwa's ability to nurse and protect such a large litter even more incredible. This extraordinary event wasn't just a win for Bingwa, but also for conservation efforts. With cheetah populations declining in the wild due to habitat loss and poaching, every successful birth in captivity is a step towards securing the future of this iconic species. Bingwa's story stands as a testament to both the resilience of animals and the importance of conservation programs. Speaking of astonishing births, let's plunge underwater to meet a small-toothed sawfish in Sardinia, Italy. In 2021, this shark-like ray gave birth to a pup despite living in an all-female tank for over a decade. The phenomenon, known as parthenogenesis, allowed the sawfish to reproduce without a mate, creating a genetically identical offspring. Small-toothed sawfish are critically endangered, so this birth was a significant moment for marine biologists. Parthenogenesis in sharks is rare but not unheard of. It's nature's backup plan for species survival when males are unavailable. What makes sawfish particularly fascinating is their ability to give birth to live young, a trait shared by only a handful of fish species. This miraculous birth brought attention to the plight of sawfish in the wild, whose populations have been decimated by overfishing and habitat destruction. Researchers hope that understanding parthenogenesis could open doors to saving other endangered species. For the sawfish in Sardinia, her pup was not just a genetic clone but a symbol of resilience against the odds. Our next story may sound like it's straight out of folklore, but it's very real. In 2020, a domestic cat in Oregon gave birth to a kitten named Biscuits and Gravy, who had 2 faces. This rare condition, called diprosopis, occurs when the embryo partially duplicates itself during development, leading to 2 functional faces on one body. What's truly remarkable is that Biscuits and Gravy's 2 faces weren't just for show. They each had their own nose and mouth, both capable of functioning independently. This means the kitten could meow from one mouth while eating from the other. Cats with this condition often don't survive long due to internal complications, but Biscuits and Gravy lived for several days, bringing joy and curiosity to their owners. Cats are fascinating creatures, and their genetic diversity makes them prone to unique conditions like polydactylism, also known as extra toes, and diprosopis. While Biscuits and Gravy's time was short, their story captured the world's imagination, reminding us of how nature can surprise us with its quirks. From land to sea, we dive into one of the ocean's most devoted mothers, the giant Pacific octopus. In Monterey Bay, California, scientists observed an extraordinary female octopus laying over 200,000 eggs in a secluded underwater den. For most of us, 200,000 is just a number, but imagine individually placing each egg and guarding them for months without ever eating. That's exactly what this octopus did. She devoted her entire life to protecting her offspring, carefully aerating the eggs and keeping predators at bay. Octopus mothers are known for their selflessness, and this species takes it to the extreme. The eggs take between 5 and 10 months to hatch, depending on water temperature. During this time, the mother doesn't eat and eventually dies shortly after her eggs hatch. Her sacrifice ensures her young have the best chance of survival. This particular octopus's sheer determination and maternal instinct left researchers in awe and offered a glimpse into the incredible reproductive strategies of the ocean's most intelligent invertebrates. On land, another fascinating mother took her owners by surprise. Zola, a black Labrador retriever from Ohio, who delivered a litter of puppies that looked like they belonged to multiple breeds. Among her 10 pups, some had solid black coats like their mom, while others were yellow or chocolate, reflecting the diversity hidden in Labrador genetics. What makes this story so intriguing is the science behind it. Labradors have 3 main coat colors, each determined by the interplay of dominant and recessive genes. For Zola to produce all 3 colors in one litter, both she and the father must have carried recessive traits for yellow and chocolate. It's a genetic jackpot. The variety in her puppies fascinated her owners, and reminded everyone of the surprises that genetics can bring. As the puppies grew, their playful personalities matched their colorful coats, and Zola proved to be an attentive and loving mother. Her litter wasn't just adorable, it was a perfect example of how diverse and complex the natural world can be. In Winston-Salem, North Carolina, a family got the surprise of a lifetime when their pet rabbit, Dolly, gave birth to an astonishing 24 kits in a single litter. For context, rabbit litters typically range from 6 to 8 kits, so Dolly's accomplishment was nothing short of extraordinary. When the family first checked on her, they were stunned to find the nest overflowing with tiny, wriggling babies. The challenge of caring for such a large litter became immediately apparent. Rabbit kits are born blind, hairless, and completely dependent on their mother's milk. Dolly did her best to nurse all 24, but with so many mouths to feed, the family had to step in. Using a small bottle, they fed the weakest kits multiple times a day to ensure they received enough nutrients to thrive. What makes this story even more remarkable is the sheer resilience of rabbits. A doe's milk is incredibly nutrient-rich, providing everything a newborn needs in just 1 or 2 feedings per day. Still, Dolly's litter size was beyond what even the most experienced breeders would expect. The family's dedication and Dolly's perseverance turned what could have been a struggle into a heartwarming story of determination and care. This once-in-a-lifetime event became a point of pride for the family and a reminder of the wonders of nature. From fur to scales, let's leap into the fascinating world of frogs, specifically the Suriname toad. This bizarre amphibian takes parenting to a whole new level by hatching its young through its back. Yes, you read that right. Instead of laying eggs in water or on land, the female embeds them into the skin on her back after mating. Over several days, her skin grows over the eggs, creating protective pouches for each embryo. What makes this process even more astonishing is that the eggs develop completely inside these pockets. When they're ready, tiny, fully formed froglets emerge from the mother's back, leaving behind a pattern of empty pits. The entire process is as unsettling as it is extraordinary, but it ensures the young are safe from predators during their vulnerable development stage. This unique reproductive method highlights the incredible diversity of the animal kingdom. While it might make your skin crawl, for the Suriname toad, it's an ingenious survival strategy that works perfectly in its watery rainforest habitat. From small miracles to the giants of the animal kingdom, let's turn to elephants, known for having the longest pregnancies of any land mammal. The Highway, an Asian elephant at Australia's Taronga Zoo, made headlines with her record-breaking 25-month pregnancy. That's more than 2 years of carrying a calf. For comparison, a human pregnancy lasts about 9 months. Elephant pregnancies are long for a reason. The extended gestation allows the fetus to develop a larger brain, which is crucial for survival in the complex social structures elephants live in. When Thihiwe finally gave birth, her calf weighed over 250 pounds and stood nearly 3 feet tall. Despite the lengthy pregnancy, she showed no signs of stress and immediately began bonding with her newborn. Elephants are remarkable mothers, and their maternal instincts are among the strongest in the animal kingdom. The highway's story is a testament to patience, resilience, and the unique adaptations that help these majestic creatures thrive, even in captivity. From large brains to large litters, let's head to Denmark, where a sow shocked farmers by giving birth to 36 piglets in a single litter. For context, pigs typically have litters of 10 to 12 piglets, making this an extraordinary event. The birth wasn't just a surprise, it was a logistical challenge. The farmers had to ensure every piglet received adequate nutrition, as a mother pig can only nurse about a dozen piglets at a time. Piglets are born highly developed compared to many other mammals, with their eyes open and a strong instinct to find a teat within minutes. Still, raising 36 piglets required constant human intervention. Farmers took shifts to bottle feed the smallest and weakest of the litter, ensuring that every piglet had a chance to survive. This record-breaking birth showcased the incredible reproductive capabilities of pigs while highlighting the importance of careful animal husbandry. The sight of 36 piglets wriggling and squealing together was both chaotic and heartwarming, a true testament to the wonders of the natural world even on the farm. From Denmark's impressive piglet story, we now head to Brazil, where a sow shattered all records by giving birth to an unbelievable 41 piglets in a single litter. This extraordinary event took place on a farm in Santa Catarina, leaving veterinarians and farmers alike astonished. To put this into perspective, the average litter size for pigs is around 10 to 12 piglets. Even large litters rarely exceed 20, but 41? It's a feat so rare that it captured global attention. Managing such a large litter wasn't easy. A sow has only 12 to 14 teats, meaning many piglets had to compete for milk. The farm's workers jumped into action, bottle feeding several piglets to ensure their survival. Piglets are born surprisingly resilient, with their eyes open and their instinct to suckle ready to go, but even this natural vigor was tested with so many competing siblings. Genetics and excellent farming practices likely played a role in this record-breaking event. The sow's incredible reproductive capacity highlights the potential for livestock management to push boundaries, but it also underscores the challenges of raising such a large group of newborns. This event was a marvel of nature and a logistical triumph for the farm. From crowded barns, we move to the open savanna and the awe-inspiring story of a giraffe giving birth in full view of a captivated audience. This event occurred at Animal Adventure Park in Harpersville, New York, where a giraffe named April made headlines for delivering her calf live on camera in 2017. The spectacle was streamed online, drawing millions of viewers from around the globe. What's unique about giraffe births is that they happen while the mother is standing, resulting in a dramatic 6-foot drop for the newborn calf. This sudden fall might sound alarming, but it's a crucial part of the process. The drop breaks the amniotic sac and helps stimulate the calf's first breath. April's calf weighed around 130 pounds and stood about 6 feet tall, ready to wobble to its feet within minutes, as giraffe calves must be mobile to avoid predators in the wild. April's birth wasn't just about numbers or spectacle. It highlighted the incredible adaptability of giraffes and their evolutionary strategies. Watching this live was a humbling reminder of the resilience and beauty of life, even for creatures as towering as giraffes. From towering giraffes to a bird with unmatched longevity, let's meet Wisdom, a Laysan albatross who continues to astonish scientists with her extraordinary reproductive story. In 2024, at an estimated 73 years old, Wisdom laid yet another egg, proving that age is just a number for this incredible seabird. First tagged in 1956, Wisdom has been outliving expectations for decades, defying the typical lifespan of her species, which is around 40 to 50 years. Laysan albatrosses are already remarkable for their life cycles. They mate for life and return to the same nesting site year after year. Wisdom's ability to lay eggs at such an advanced age is an extraordinary testament to her health and the stability of her breeding environment at Midway Atoll. Over her lifetime, it's estimated that Wisdom has raised more than 30 chicks, an astounding number for any bird. Her story is also a beacon of hope for conservationists, as wisdom has lived through decades of environmental changes and challenges, including threats from plastic pollution and habitat destruction. Her ongoing reproductive success highlights the resilience of nature when given the chance to thrive, making her one of the most inspiring figures in the animal kingdom. From the rolling waves of the ocean, let's venture into the bamboo forests of Chengdu, China, where Huazuiba, a giant panda at the Chengdu research base of giant panda breeding, became a mother of twins through artificial insemination. In 2021, Huazuiba delivered 2 healthy cubs, reaffirming the importance of scientific intervention in conserving this beloved yet endangered species. Pandas are famously difficult to breed, especially in captivity. Female pandas have an incredibly short fertility window, just 24 to 72 hours each year, making natural reproduction a significant challenge. That's where artificial insemination steps in, helping increase the chances of success. Huazuiba's twins were born just minutes apart, each weighing less than 5 ounces. Despite their tiny size, they had a strong start thanks to the meticulous care provided by the staff at the research base. Twins are a special occurrence among pandas, though in the wild, mothers typically raise only 1 cub. At the Chengdu Center, keepers carefully rotated the twins between Huazuiba and an incubator, ensuring both received equal attention and nourishment. Huazuiba's calm demeanor and excellent maternal instincts made her an ideal candidate for this delicate process. This birth wasn't just about numbers, it symbolized hope for a species struggling against habitat loss and low reproductive rates. Huazuiba's twins were a triumph of science, dedication, and the resilience of a species that continues to capture hearts worldwide. Our next story comes from Lickstone Farm in Waynesville, North Carolina. Here, a ewe astonished her caretakers by giving birth to quadruplets, an extremely rare event in sheep. The odds of a sheep delivering 4 healthy lambs are about 1 in 500, making this a remarkable case. What's even more extraordinary is that all 4 lambs, 3 females and 1 male, were born strong and healthy. Sheep are known for their nurturing instincts, but raising such a large litter posed challenges. A ewe has only 2 teats, meaning farmers had to step in to bottle feed the lambs around the clock. The lambs, each weighing just a few pounds at birth, quickly became the pride of the farm. The event wasn't just a testament to the ewe's strength, but also a reflection of the excellent care provided at Lickstone Farm. Quadruplets in sheep are rare enough, but the survival of all 4 lambs made this story even more extraordinary, capturing the joy and unpredictability of life on a farm. From the pastures of North Carolina, we dive underwater to meet a clownfish with one of nature's most fascinating tricks: the ability to change gender. At a marine center in Florida, researchers documented a clownfish that transitioned from male to female and later laid eggs, a rare yet natural behavior in this species. Clownfish live in strict social hierarchies, with the largest individual in a group functioning as the breeding female. If she dies, the largest male will transform into a female to take her place, a process driven by hormonal changes. In this case, the newly transitioned clownfish laid a clutch of eggs within weeks, fertilized by a smaller male in the group. What makes this story even more fascinating is how this gender flexibility ensures the survival of clownfish colonies. The transition is irreversible, meaning the fish's new role is permanent. This incredible adaptability highlights the resourcefulness of nature, where even the smallest creatures have evolved unique ways to thrive in challenging environments. From the forests of bamboo to the pastures of Assam, India, let's explore the extraordinary case of a cow that gave birth to a calf with a 5th leg. In this small village, the unusual birth stunned locals, sparking curiosity and even reverence. The calf was otherwise healthy, but had an extra leg protruding from its back, a rare condition known as polymelia. Polymelia occurs during embryonic development when additional limbs form due to genetic mutations or disruptions in cell division. While such cases are scientifically explainable, the villagers viewed the calf as a symbol of divine intervention, flocking to see it and offering prayers. The calf became a local celebrity overnight, drawing visitors from neighboring areas. Its owner ensured the calf received proper care, and remarkably, the extra leg didn't seem to hinder its movement or overall health. Polymelia is rare in cattle, with occurrences estimated at less than 0.01% globally. Most calves born with such anomalies don't survive long, but this little one defied expectations. The story highlights both the marvels and mysteries of biology, as well as the deep cultural connections humans often have with animals. This unique birth became a source of wonder, reminding everyone of nature's ability to surprise and captivate us. Most cows give birth to a single calf. Some lucky farmers witness twins. Every once in a while triplets arrive, and that's already a big surprise. But a cow in Powys, Wales did something nearly impossible. She gave birth to quadruplets, a 1 in 700,000 chance. And what makes it even more astonishing? All 4 survived. The odds of that happening? 1 in 11 million. The farmer who owns the cow couldn't believe it when he saw 4 tiny calves wobbling on their legs. At first he thought it had to be a mistake, maybe some of the calves belonged to another cow. But no, his cow had indeed delivered 4 healthy babies. He called in the vet just to be sure, and the vet confirmed it. The births were real, and the mother was doing just fine. Cows are not designed to carry 4 calves at once. Their bodies struggle to provide enough nutrients for that many growing babies. In most cases, not all the calves survive. Some don't make it to birth, and even if they do, they often come out weak. But against all odds, these 4 calves were alive, kicking, and nursing. The farmer and his family had their hands full. 4 calves at once meant 4 times the feeding, 4 times the care, and 4 times the work. But it also meant 4 times the joy. They gave the calves special attention, making sure each one got enough milk. In a typical situation, a cow would only have enough milk for 1 or 2 calves, so the farmer had to step in and bottle feed them extra nutrients. Having a big litter is one thing, but what happened to Tia, a Neapolitan mastiff in the UK, is something out of a record book. In 2004, she stunned the world by giving birth to 24 puppies in a single litter, setting the Guinness World Record for the largest number of puppies born at once. A typical Neapolitan mastiff litter is around 6 to 10 puppies, so this was completely off the charts. Tia's labor was long and exhausting. Mastiffs are massive dogs built for strength and protection, but even for a dog of her size, carrying 24 puppies was a huge challenge. By the time she finished delivering, she was beyond exhausted, and the owners could hardly believe what they had just witnessed. They knew big litters were possible, but 24 puppies? It was almost impossible. The real challenge began after the birth. A mother dog can only feed so many puppies at once, and Tia was way outnumbered. The owners had to step in, bottle feeding the puppies around the clock to make sure every single one got the nutrition it needed. With that many puppies, there was constant movement. Some were sleeping, some were eating, some were tumbling over each other in a chaotic pile of fur and tiny paws. Even more remarkable, 20 of the 24 puppies survived, an incredibly high number for such a large litter. Raising that many puppies at once was no small task, but Tia, even after such a demanding birth, kept a close watch on them. She cleaned them, snuggled them, and made sure they stayed safe. Tia's record-breaking litter made headlines around the world. Dog breeders, veterinarians, and animal lovers couldn't believe it. The birth wasn't just rare, it was one of the most extreme births ever recorded in the canine world. And as wild as this story was, the animal kingdom had even more surprises. Because if you think 24 puppies in one litter is impressive, wait until you hear about the elephant that gave birth to a set of twins for the first time in nearly 80 years. A baby elephant is already a rare and incredible sight, but 2 elephant calves born at the same time? That's something almost unheard of. In 2021 at Pinnawala Elephant Orphanage in Sri Lanka, a 25-year-old elephant named Sarangi did what most elephants never do. She gave birth to twins. It was the first twin elephant birth recorded in Sri Lanka in nearly 80 years. Elephants have some of the longest pregnancies in the animal kingdom. Their gestation period lasts about 22 months, nearly 2 full years. Carrying even 1 calf is a massive challenge for a mother elephant, but carrying 2, that's an entirely different level. When Sarangi went into labor, the sanctuary staff knew something special was happening. The first calf arrived healthy and strong. Then, just when everyone thought the birth was over, another tiny trunk appeared. A second baby elephant was on its way. It was a shocking moment. Twin births in elephants are so rare that many elephant caretakers go their entire lives without ever seeing one. At birth, the twin boys were noticeably smaller than a typical newborn elephant, but both were alert, standing and feeding well. Their mother, though exhausted, showed no hesitation in caring for them. She stood protectively over them, using her trunk to nudge them closer when they stumbled, guiding them toward her milk and keeping them safe from the curious eyes of other elephants in the herd. As the days passed, the twins grew stronger, learning to walk side by side and explore their surroundings together. Elephants form deep family bonds, and these two would have the ultimate built-in companion for life. A beagle giving birth to an Arctic wolf sounds like something out of a science fiction movie, but in 2022, that's exactly what happened. In a groundbreaking achievement, Chinese scientists successfully cloned an Arctic wolf named Maya, using a beagle as the surrogate mother. This was one of the biggest breakthroughs in conservation cloning, offering new hope for endangered species. Arctic wolves, known for their thick white fur and ability to survive extreme cold, are usually found in the remote tundras of North America. But this particular wolf, Maya, wasn't born in the wild. Instead, she was a genetic copy of another wolf, created in a laboratory using cutting-edge cloning techniques. The process started with DNA taken from a wild Arctic wolf. Scientists then placed this genetic material into a dog egg cell, creating an embryo that was implanted into a beagle. Beagles were chosen because their size and reproductive cycle closely matched those of a wolf. When the pregnancy reached full term, the beagle gave birth to a perfectly healthy Arctic wolf pup. Maya wasn't just a scientific experiment, she was a fully functional Arctic wolf, raised in a controlled environment where researchers could monitor her development. The goal wasn't just to see if cloning could work, but to explore whether this technology could be used to help save endangered species in the future. Arctic wolves are not currently at critical risk, but many other species like the Przewalski's horse and even the woolly mammoth could benefit from similar techniques. The birth of Maya raised big questions. Could cloned animals be introduced back into the wild? Would they behave the same way as naturally born animals? Could this technology one day bring back extinct species? While the answers aren't fully clear yet, one thing is certain: a beagle giving birth to a wolf is just the beginning of what's possible. Most animals stop reproducing after a certain age, but Henry, a tuatara from New Zealand, didn't seem to care about the rules. At 80 years old, he became a first-time father, proving that even in the animal kingdom, it's never too late to start a family. Tuataras are not lizards. They look like lizards, but they belong to an ancient group of reptiles that have been around since the time of the dinosaurs. They grow slowly, live for over 100 years, and are one of the most unique creatures on the planet. But Henry, despite his long life, had never fathered any offspring. For decades he showed no interest in mating and was even known for being aggressive toward other tuataras. That all changed when he was introduced to a female tuatara named Mildred at the Southland Museum in Invercargill. Something clicked, and for the first time in his long life, Henry finally became a dad. Mildred laid 11 eggs, and when they hatched, healthy baby tuataras crawled out, marking an incredible moment in conservation history. Scientists were shocked. They had no idea a male tuatara could still reproduce at such an advanced age. It turns out that unlike most reptiles, tuataras don't have a strict reproductive cutoff. As long as they're healthy, they can keep producing offspring well into old age. This was a major win for conservation efforts. Tuataras are a protected species, and every successful birth helps increase their population. Henry's story gave hope that even older tuataras could still play a role in keeping their species alive. Horses are powerful, majestic animals built for speed and strength. Even the smallest breeds, like miniature horses, are usually about 2 feet tall at birth. But in 2010, in Barnstead, New Hampshire, a tiny foal named Einstein completely shattered expectations. He was so small at birth that he barely looked real, standing just 14 inches tall and weighing only 6 pounds. Most miniature horses are small because of dwarfism, a genetic condition that can cause health problems. But Einstein was different. He had perfect proportions, just like a normal horse, only on a much smaller scale. That's what made him so special. He was simply a tiny, fully healthy horse. When Einstein was born, he was so small he could be picked up and cradled like a puppy. His owners, a couple who raised miniature horses, were stunned. They knew they had something special, but they had no idea just how famous he would become. Within weeks, word spread and Einstein became an internet sensation. People couldn't believe a horse that small could exist. As he grew, he stayed remarkably tiny. Even at full size, Einstein remained one of the smallest horses ever recorded, never reaching the size of other miniature horses. His small frame, combined with his lively personality, made him one of the most unique equines in history. Horses come in all shapes and sizes, but Einstein showed the world just how incredibly tiny a horse could be. And while his birth was record-breaking, the animal kingdom isn't just about size. It's also about unexpected families. Because while Einstein was making headlines for being the smallest horse, two penguins in Australia were making history as the most famous same-sex penguin parents ever. Penguins are some of the best parents in the animal kingdom. They take turns keeping their eggs warm, feeding their chicks, and protecting them from predators. But in 2018, at Sea Life Sydney Aquarium, something unusual happened. A pair of male Gen 2 penguins, Sven and Magic, were given an egg to care for, and they successfully hatched a chick. Same-sex penguin couples aren't unheard of. In the wild and in zoos, male penguin pairs have been seen building nests together and trying to hatch rocks, treating them like real eggs. But Sven and Magic were different. The zookeepers noticed that these two weren't just playing around, they were serious about becoming parents. To test their skills, the aquarium staff gave them a dummy egg. They took turns sitting on it, gently rolling it between their feet to keep it warm, just like any other penguin parents. Seeing how dedicated they were, the keepers decided to give them a real egg from another pair that had laid two. Sven and Magic took their new responsibility seriously. They guarded the egg, kept it warm, and made sure it was always safe. Weeks later, the egg hatched, and out came a healthy chick. The two dads cared for their baby just like any other penguin couple, feeding, cleaning, and keeping the little one warm. Their story became world famous, and Sven and Magic quickly became one of the most beloved penguin couples in history. Some baby animals enter the world soft and helpless. Others come out covered in spikes. Meet the tenrec, a bizarre little creature from Madagascar that looks like a hedgehog mixed with a shrew. Unlike most spiky animals which have soft fur at birth, tenrec babies are born with fully formed quills, ready to defend themselves from the moment they arrive. But that's not the only wild thing about them. While most mammals have a few babies at a time, tenrecs break the record with some of the largest litters in the animal kingdom. A single tenrec mother can give birth to as many as 32 babies at once. That's more than most dogs, cats, or even rodents. A litter that big means chaos. The tiny needle-covered newborns scramble for milk, climbing over each other in a spiky pile. Their mother, despite being small herself, somehow manages to feed and care for them all. As they grow, the spikes become even sharper, acting as built-in armor against predators. Tenrecs are one of Madagascar's weirdest animals, and their extreme birth sizes make them even stranger. But while a tenrec mom juggling 30-plus babies is impressive, there's another mother out there who had the world watching her every move. And this time, it wasn't just scientists paying attention, the entire country of China was on edge. Giant pandas are notoriously difficult to breed. Their mating windows are short, their pregnancies are unpredictable, and single births are the norm. So when Huan, a giant panda at Zoo Parc de Beauval in France, gave birth to twins in August 2021, it was a massive moment for panda conservation. The first cub arrived safely, but just when everyone thought the labor was over, another tiny panda appeared. The staff at the zoo were overjoyed. Panda twins are extremely rare, and raising two cubs at once is a massive challenge. Newborn pandas are shockingly small, weighing only about 1/4 pound, completely pink and totally helpless. Because mother pandas struggle to care for two cubs at the same time, the zookeepers had to step in. They swapped the cubs in and out of their mother's care, keeping one with her while the other stayed in an incubator. This method helped both babies survive, ensuring they got the attention and milk they needed. The two sisters, named Huan Lily and Yuen Dudu, quickly became stars. Their birth was celebrated worldwide, and China, where giant pandas are a national treasure, was especially thrilled. These cubs weren't just adorable, they were a symbol of hope for their species. But while panda births are rare and precious, some animal births don't happen in the safety of a zoo or sanctuary. Some happen in the wild, in places where survival is a constant battle, and in Colorado, deep underground, something was happening that sent hundreds of baby rattlesnakes slithering into the world, all at once. Most people would prefer to never come across a rattlesnake. But in northern Colorado, researchers stumbled upon one of the biggest rattlesnake dens ever found, home to over 2,000 snakes, and growing. Rattlesnakes don't lay eggs like many other reptiles. Instead, they give birth to live young, usually about a dozen at a time. But in this den, multiple female snakes were giving birth at the same time, causing the population to explode. Scientists set up live cameras to monitor the activity, and what they captured was jaw-dropping. Dozens of baby rattlesnakes were slithering across the ground, their tiny bodies blending into the dirt. Unlike most newborn animals, rattlesnakes are born fully developed, complete with fangs and venom. From day one they can hunt and defend themselves. The sheer number of snakes in this mega den made it one of the largest recorded rattlesnake birthing sites in the United States. It's rare to see so many baby rattlesnakes born in one place at the same time, but the conditions in this underground network were perfect for breeding. For most people, the idea of thousands of baby rattlesnakes hatching underground is nightmare fuel. But in the animal world, even weirder births have happened. Because just a few years ago, on the plains of Kenya, a zebra gave birth to a foal that wasn't entirely zebra. Zebras are known for their black and white stripes, but when a mother zebra at Chyulu Hills National Park in Kenya gave birth, something was very different about her foal. Instead of having the usual zebra markings, her baby had a donkey-like body with faint stripes on its legs. At first, rangers thought the foal might be sick, but as they got closer, they realized something incredible had happened. This was a zonkey, a hybrid between a zebra and a donkey. This wasn't a case of human interference. It happened naturally in the wild. The mother zebra had wandered out of the park and into a nearby community, where she likely mated with a local donkey. When she returned to the protected area, she was already pregnant with a foal that was half zebra, half donkey. Zonkies are extremely rare because zebras and donkeys have different numbers of chromosomes, making successful hybrid births unlikely, but somehow, this little foal defied the odds. Hybrids like zonkies don't usually happen in the wild. Zebras and donkeys don't naturally pair up, but in areas where human settlements overlap with wildlife, strange things can occur. While the little zonkey looked different from the rest of the zebra herd, its mother accepted it completely, raising it as one of her own. Horses have been around humans for thousands of years, but one species almost didn't make it: the Przewalski's horse. This wild horse, native to the Mongolian steppes, was declared extinct in the wild in the 1960s. The only ones left were in captivity, and their genetic diversity was shrinking fast. Then, in August 2020, something incredible happened. Scientists successfully cloned a Przewalski's horse for the first time in history. The foal, named Kurt, was created from 40-year-old frozen DNA, making him a genetic copy of a wild horse that lived decades ago. To pull this off, scientists used a domestic horse surrogate mother. The embryo, created in a lab, was implanted into the surrogate, and after a normal horse pregnancy, Kurt was born. He looked like a typical Przewalski's horse, stocky, with a short mane and a strong build, but he was also a sign of what's possible for endangered species. Kurt's birth wasn't just about saving one species, it was a test of whether cloning could be used to revive other animals on the brink of extinction. If Przewalski's horses could be cloned successfully, what about rhinos, bison, maybe even species that are already extinct? Scientists are already working on projects to bring back the woolly mammoth, using similar techniques. Reptiles have some of the strangest reproductive methods in the animal kingdom, but what happened with this copperhead snake in Virginia was something scientists almost didn't believe. She gave birth without ever meeting a male, not once, but twice. In 2012, a team of researchers studying wild copperheads found a female that had delivered a clutch of baby snakes. But there was one problem: she had been living alone, with no male copperhead anywhere near her. How was this possible? The answer: parthenogenesis. It's a rare phenomenon where a female animal can self-fertilize, producing offspring without a male. It happens in some insects, reptiles, and even a few birds, but in snakes, it's extremely unusual. Scientists were amazed but thought it was just a one-time fluke. Then in 2019, the same snake did it again. Without any male contact, she gave birth to another set of baby snakes. This confirmed that some female copperheads are capable of reproducing entirely on their own, without needing fertilization. The baby snakes were small but fully functional, equipped with venom and ready to survive on their own. This kind of reproduction might help snakes survive in the wild, especially in areas where males are scarce. It's a built-in backup plan for continuing the species when mates are hard to find. We are looking at one of nature's most astonishing feats: a lizard that cloned itself to form an entirely new colony. This phenomenon, known to you as parthenogenesis, is seen in certain species of whiptail lizards, where females reproduce without mating. In the arid landscapes of New Mexico, a single female lizard established a thriving population by producing genetically identical offspring. These lizards bypass traditional reproduction, laying unfertilized eggs that develop into viable clones. What makes this process even more fascinating is its precision. Every offspring is a perfect genetic copy of the mother, ensuring continuity of the species even in isolated conditions. This unique ability doesn't come without limitations. A lack of genetic diversity means these populations are more vulnerable to diseases or environmental changes. Still, their resilience is nothing short of extraordinary. These lizards not only defy the odds of survival, but also challenge our understanding of reproduction. In the harsh, unforgiving deserts, the story of these self-cloning lizards proves that nature always finds a way, no matter how unconventional it may seem. From deserts to the farmyard, let's visit a small village in Sri Lanka, where an ordinary hen achieved something truly extraordinary, giving birth to a live chick without laying an egg. The event left villagers and scientists alike baffled, as it defied the very nature of avian reproduction. Typically, a hen's egg is laid and incubated externally. In this rare case, the egg remained inside the hen's body, where it developed and hatched. The phenomenon is incredibly rare, and comes with significant risks. The chick's internal hatching caused complications for the hen, and unfortunately, she did not survive the ordeal. However, the chick emerged healthy and thrived under the care of the farmer. This unusual event highlights the delicate and intricate process of egg formation, which typically involves the shell forming as a protective layer around the developing embryo. In a story that sounds almost like science fiction, the gastric brooding frog, declared extinct in 1983, stunned scientists when it laid eggs decades later, thanks to groundbreaking de-extinction research. Native to Australia, this frog was unique for its bizarre reproductive method. Females swallowed their fertilized eggs, incubated them in their stomachs, and eventually gave birth through their mouths. In 2013, researchers with the Lazarus Project used preserved genetic material to implant the frog's DNA into eggs from a related species. Incredibly, the embryos began to develop, offering hope for reviving extinct species. While the embryos didn't survive to full term, the event marked a breakthrough in de-extinction science. This extraordinary case not only highlighted the frog's fascinating biology, but also underscored the potential of genetic research in conservation. That's about it. Write in the comments which of these births surprised you the most. For more useful information, watch other videos.